News are in Freetown. How must be reporting?
Now, the price of petroleum products and the pollution it creates is a cause for concern for government and consumers worldwide. To save Sierra Leone from the cost of fuel and the ethical responsibility for climate change, electric vehicles have now been introduced for the first time by New Electronic Vehicles NIVS Sierra Leone. In this report from Harold Williams, the Minister of Trade says the introduction of electric vehicles is a huge step towards the nation's sustainable development.
His Excellency, the government and the citizens of Sierra Leone, I express my sincere appreciation to NIVS Salon and all stakeholders involved in making this vision a reality. It is imperative that we continue to collaborate in our efforts to advance Sierra Leone towards a more sustainable and prosperous future. The only way this country will go before, not other person they can make and for. On behalf of the government, I congratulate NIVS Sierra Leone for this initiative and we look forward to support them right now. We now can support them and tell you thank you.
Chairing the launch of NIVS Salon's electric vehicles, Slbc's Deputy Director General Asmi Ba described the event as history-making and a positive step for Sierra Leone as the world moves towards green energy. CEO for NIVS Sierra Leone identified the occasion as worthy of national celebration because this places Sierra Leone miles ahead of neighboring Guinea and Liberia by introducing vehicles that can run 600 kilometers on a single charge, which is more mileage than a round trip from Freetown to Bo. The CEO promised an electric vehicle assembly factory 6 to 7 months from now and acknowledged the government's support through a grant for their solar charging installation, favorable duty concessions, and a commercially viable marketing environment where they have been able to engage over 200 youths, including women, as riders and technical support.
We celebrate as a nation. Now, moments like this, we all for Kadi because waiting the happen so here, they put Sierra Leone na the world map.
Chief Operations Officer Mrs. Emanuela Sandi listed the benefits of electric vehicles and was also commended by the Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Aissata Mahoy, for the NIVS Salon's inclusivity in accordance with government's policy for 30% participation by women in all spheres of development. Meanwhile, Minister of Trade and Industry Ibrahim Alpha Sisse said NIVS Salon has demonstrated profound commitment to Sierra Leone's sustainable development and modernization of trade practice. He ended his keynote remarks by assuring the public that manufacturing and service industries were the best way to create jobs, create wealth, and with the introduction of electric vehicles to reduce the burden on foreign exchange expenditure for the import of fuel. Fuad Jusubangura, who oversees Sierra Leone's climate change affairs at executive level, underscored the reality of global warming and its cause, which was the emission of carbon gases from fuel consumed in traditionally powered petrol and diesel engines. Superintendent of Police Edmund Ernest, head of Police Transportation, said they were happy to provide partnership and security while they, as a police force, were also in a technical transformation.
In a landmark event, World Link Communications has officially launched its services in Sierra Leone, marking a significant milestone in the nation's effort to enhance internet connectivity. This initiative is a collaborative effort between the government of Sierra Leone and World Link Communications, aiming to ensure that every citizen, irrespective of their location, has access to reliable internet services. Our reporter Stella Bangoa tells us more.
We're going to have to share a toast to this symbolic act.
The event attracted a diverse audience, including government officials, stakeholders from the tech industry, and local citizens eager to learn how improved connectivity can transform their lives. The partnership is designed to bridge the digital divide, promote effective communication, and support various sectors, including education, healthcare, and the justice system.
With a proven track record of excellence, we bring reliable and cutting-edge technology to every market we enter. Our expansion into Sierra Leone reflects to our commitment and fostering connectivity and progress. Our experience in diverse markets allow us to deliver tailored solutions to meet local needs. Sierra Leone marks an important addition to our growing footprint, and we're excited to contribute to its development.
During the launch, Minister of Communication, Technology and Innovation, Salima Monamaba, expressed enthusiasm about the partnership as the collaboration with WorldLink Communications is committed to improving the lives of all Sierra Leoneans.
Connectivity is not a privilege, it is a human right. And this is what has guided the government's policies, strategies when it comes to how we think about connectivity. Understand that there's a difference between when somebody grows up with access versus somebody who grows up without. So think about it that way. The same way how we believe that everybody should have access to education, should have access to healthcare facilities, should have access to water, should have access to electricity, the same way you should have access to connectivity, regardless of where you are in Sierra Leone, regardless of whether you're in Freetown or if you're in my village in Koindu, in Kailan, you should have access, you should have quality and equal access.
WorldLink Communications plans to integrate its services within crucial sectors and aims to make high-speed internet accessible to underserved communities, allowing those who may not afford premium services to benefit from enhanced connectivity. As the event concluded, managing partner WorldLink Communications Sierra Leone and host Malado So emphasized that WorldLink Communications is ready to respond to the demand for dependable and efficient connectivity within Sierra Leone.
I just want to close by this statement saying, WorldLink Communication, we're here to partner with everyone. We're here to pose any threat to sector players. We want to join hands and see how we can deliver a prosperous and connected Sierra Leone.
The launch of WorldLink Communications Sierra Leone is expected to improve the efficiency of services and facilitate communication across Sierra Leone. With a focus on innovative tech solutions, the company will work towards expanding coverage to remote regions, thereby fostering economic growth and development. SLBC News, Stella Bangura reporting.
Also, in a significant move to help reduce the impact of climate change, SOS Children's Villages has launched the Eco Champion project designed to empowering youth for gender-responsive climate action in Sierra Leone. The project was born out of the urgent need to empower youth as agents to take bold steps in climate action within their communities. As Ibrahim Samoa reports, 35,000 new loans was given to the 3 of Eco Champions from Onjala University to roll out climate action initiatives in communities.
The project was part of SOS Children's Villages broader initiative aimed at empowering young people, particularly those who have lost or risk of losing parental care. This project is focused on addressing environmental sustainability and promoting social justice through youth-led climate action. By equipping young people with the necessary knowledge, skills, networks, and financial support, the project seeks to enable them to lead impactful climate change initiatives in their communities. 3 of the Eco Champions were students from Jala University who developed initiatives to help tackle climate change through climate actions. Mama Hawa Bundo focused her work on sustainable climate-smart agriculture.
We all know Sierra Leone agriculture is the backbone of our economy, providing livelihood for 60% of our population in Sierra Leone. But climate change has made it very difficult for farmers and it has hindered our crop yield and also threatened our food security. Most of our farmers who once rely on traditional methods are now struggling to feed their families and also to sustain their livelihood.
Gina Thomas, our work will be on reducing pollution and deforestation, while Abu Amadou anchored his initiative on sustainable waste management.
I am working on the SDG 3 and 6 with 7, which 17, which the 3 is clearly talking about good health, and 6 is talking about sanitation, while the 7 is talking about partnership, because partnership is key in every initiative. And my impact, I will be working with an average number of 10, which mostly is going to target girls and young women who are not with the knowledge of climate change.
My initiative, Sustainable Waste Management, is there to address improper waste management in our community. And improper waste management is one of the key problems affecting our community today, wherein we can see people disposing their waste anyhow in communities, and it has created problem for our environment.
National Director, SOS Children's Villages, Sophie Indor, said the project was in line with the country's midterm national development and the National Climate Adaptation Strategy. She said SOS would join forces with the government to address issues of climate change.
So they have submitted their project, which went through scrutiny, and the objective is to break it down into installment and allow them to implement different activities within targeted communities. We are starting in Bo. All 3 of them are in Bo right now, and we went with those who are almost in final years or 3rd year of university. And they have set of activities that they will be implementing in collaboration with the partners.
The Program Development Manager Usman Karbo, SOS Children Villages, said as an organization dedicated to supporting young people, SOS Children's Villages recognize that environmental sustainability and social justice go hand in hand. Mr. Karbo went on that the project was not about raising awareness, but also creating real impact where young people would have opportunity to lead sustainable initiatives, promote green solutions, and advocate for climate justice. Representatives from the Ministry of Youth Affairs, National Youth Commission, APA, Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs, and DHL welcomed the project, noting the initiative was in line with their work. They said climate change is real and affecting the country.
You're still watching news from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. We continue with more stories. Now, residents of Freetown, a community in Lumley, are raising serious concerns over the poor living conditions in their area. From poor sanitation to lack of electricity, absence of a hospital, bad road network, and rising crime rates due to drug abuse. Our reporter, Nandora Toronka, takes interest in the story.
Freetown, a populated community in Lumley, is facing severe infrastructural and social challenges. Residents said that they have been left behind and they are living in extreme poor conditions. The situation has become so bad that they fear for their children's safety. A resident who chose to speak off camera blamed the youths who are into drug abuse for, as she put it, making life difficult for other people in the community by stealing and harassing people at night.
The kush, then I them base there. So the bobo then the school picking them or that the college or this that and they misuse the kush, don't misuse them so much that I like comrade and cancel for them picking them for say for let them go back to school, for go college back. They need to able pull them. Nothing, no community people, nobody, no raise up, no concern, no nothing.
Born and raised in Freetown community, Musa Fanel said the bridge in the community is falling apart and the garbage is causing serious health issues. The worst case is that the community has no hospital or clinic.
Because most of the water they use now, not pure water there. Even the way they say they cook safe or they boil them, not pure. because we are from well with the pool now. Just being forced now, yeah. No one day see tricycle the company or go down for take the thing over. And now you only option people and get that the past either them burn them as you can see over here. Either them burn them or another than 2 hours water. As kita boku bad. One more the wood start with them put on so up to now so the wood. And now we the community now follow link here and there. So we will be boat bridge so that people will get access for cross from here to yonder.
Ali Mami Bangura and Marie Fanel, who have lived here for over 30 years, said that before this place was much better. Now it has become unbearable. There is no proper sanitation. Crime rate is on the increase.
They better pass today, not to reverse.
Do not get pump. The light business is the money away. Street or no day. The road is a money. Water business is tranga. We also thief cup, thief paper, thief rubber. Talk. La payo talk no day. Where is left the most small? Amen. Church come on.
Desperate for change, residents of Crabtown community Lumley are calling on the government to intervene before it is too late. SLBC News are Nandewa Toronka reporting.
The Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, in collaboration with the National Association of Certified Tour Guides Sierra Leone, recently commemorated World Tour Guides Day with a meaningful nature hike to the Takugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary. This event, which was attended by numerous tourism stakeholders, emphasized the invaluable role of tour guides as ambassadors for both tourism and environmental sustainability in Sierra Leone. Esther Sako reports.
World Tour Guides Day, celebrated annually in over 70 countries, is a global recognition of the critical role tour guides play in shaping tourist experiences and promoting environmental conservation. In Sierra Leone, the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs marks the occasion with a special nature hike to Takugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary at Regent. The tour underscored the importance of ecotourism and the preservation of Sierra Leone's natural landscapes. Under this year's theme, Tourist Guides as Ambassadors, it drew attention to how tour guides serve as bridges between visitors and the country's cultural and environmental treasures. Director of Tourism, Travel and Exchange Program, Mohamed Jallow, reiterated the government's commitment towards supporting ecotourism initiatives and safeguarding the Takugama Sanctuary and its forest reserve.
The Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs will depend on the environment to showcase ecotourism. This year is the year of ecotourism, and we want to ensure that the environment is protected. We call on everyone to join us. Very soon we'll run out of water. Very soon we'll run out of our beautiful forested areas, our national parks, our reserves. So we have to come together to protect this.
The hike allowed participants to engage with the sanctuary's conservation efforts firsthand while discussing strategies to protect the environment.
Because of the deforestation where they go on, as opposed to the kayak, well, let's see sandy deforestation, it's not easy, it's very dark. But now, as you can see, there's a lot of sunlight, no water, no day, because of deforestation. So we require to take water forward. Most of the cow guests now, they swim out for morning till evening. It's very lively for the year. But as you can see, you are surrounded off completely because of the deforestation.
The ministry's support of the National Association of Certified Tour Guides further highlighted the need to acknowledge tour guides as central figures in both the tourism sector and the conservation movement. By fostering awareness of sustainable tourism practices, the event reinforced Sierra Leone's potential to become a leading destination for responsible tourism in Africa. SLBC News, Esther Sako reporting.
The government secondary school for girls, Mathura, has observed its 66th-year anniversary celebration with a speech day, prize giving and Thanksgiving ceremony on the theme Building Resilience Through Education. The program was spearheaded by the Mathura Old Girls Association, MOGA, and the school administration. From Abdul Karim Kanu, filed in this report.
Speaking at the 66th Speech Day, Prize Giving and Thanksgiving ceremony at the Matora Girls Secondary School, presenting her reports to the Board of Governors, MOGA, and the general public, Principal of the Matora Girls Secondary School, Marie Juliet Kamara, appealed for additional PIN codes to her 15 teachers who are not on payroll. She said the school enrollment, which is now 815, dropped drastically due to the lack of transportation means to take the pupils to and from school. Madam Kamara commended the Matora All Girls Association MOGA for refurbishing the dining hall and equipped it with furniture. The principal also commended the government of Sierra Leone for its continued support to the school, and in particular the Minister of Youth Affairs, Mohamed Oman Bangura, for providing cooking utensils and computer for the Matora Girls School.
During the above period under review, there are 42 teachers and 8 auxiliary workers of the school. Of the number, there are 15 teachers who are non-PIN coded and are awaiting recruitment for the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary School Education. Most of them have taught for over 5 years. The staffing situation continues to pose a lot of problem to the administration.
Aina M. Puelo Kane is the Vice President of the Matora All Girls Association MOGA. She spoke about their contribution to the school. Madam Kane acknowledged the support of MOGA UK branch, which gave them 43,000 new loans, and MOGA USA branch for its support to the 66th anniversary of the school.
Avoid distraction, they can derail your education journey. Do not be tempted by material things, especially phones. Things that can lead you away from your goals. And most importantly, examination malpractice will not help us. You will do it today, tomorrow it will affect the family again.
On her part, keynote speaker and guest of honor of the 66th Speech Day, Prize Giving and Thanksgiving ceremony of the Matora Girls Secondary School, Honorable Mabinsi Fona Esquire, said the government secondary school for girls has produced a number of women who are now contributing to the development of the nation in diverse ways.
Education gave me the strength to question the status quo, to engage in discussions about the future of my community and my beloved country, and to advocate for change. Each of you has such power within you. The resilience you cultivate today will be the foundation for your successes tomorrow.
Performance of various skits depicting the role of society in promoting education and the presentation of prizes to some deserving girls were staged during the program, whilst a march past on the main street of Maboroka after a well-attended Thanksgiving service formed high points of the celebration.
Well, it's now time for our international news.
Hello and welcome to International News. I am Esther Susanette Bassi. Apple plans to invest more than $500 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years, starting with the new advanced manufacturing factory in Texas. The tech giant said it's expected to create 20,000 new jobs over that time, with the vast majority of roles in research and development, software and artificial intelligence (AI). The announcement comes days after Apple boss Tim Cook met with President Donald Trump, who has made increased corporate investment in the U.S. a priority. In its announcement, Apple said its investment was its largest ever spent commitment and will expand its support for American manufacturing. Apple is also expanding its data center capacity in North Carolina, Iowa, Oregon, Arizona, and Nevada, and doubling its support for a fund dedicated to U.S. manufacturing, which it created in Trump's first term, from $5 billion to $10 billion. Trump reviewed the announcement last week, claiming it was partially a response to his trade policies, including tariffs. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati held discussions with Sudanese Foreign Minister Ali Youssef El Sharif in Cairo. Following their meeting, they addressed the recent development involving Sudan's paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, and their allies, who signed a charter to form a parallel government. The signatories claimed they aim to create a government focused on peace and unity despite widespread concerns from human rights organizations and the international community regarding the RSF's alleged atrocities since the conflict began in April 2023. The ongoing war in Sudan has resulted in over 24,000 deaths and displaced more than 14 million people, which is roughly 30% of the population, according to the United Nations. Approximately 3.2 million Sudanese have fled to neighboring countries. The Sudanese military has gained the upper hand in the conflict, having gained control of key areas including the capital of Gezira province, Wad Medani, and the largest oil refinery in the country. Kenya has received 17 mountain bongos, a very rare type of antelope, from a conservation center in the United States. The antelopes are third-generation descendants of mountain bongos taken from Kenya in the 1960s. The return of the critically endangered animals from the Rare Species Conservation Foundation in Florida was hailed as a monumental step in Kenya's conservation efforts. Tourism Minister Rebecca Miano described the arrival of the bongos at the country's main airport on Sunday night as emotional and a benefit for Kenya's tourism and conservation sectors. The animals were taken to wildlife sanctuaries in Meru Country near Mount Kenya, where they will be nurtured before they are gradually introduced to their natural habitat. Ms. Miano said the mountain bongo, a species originally only found in Kenya, has suffered untold grief over the decades, dwindling to alarming proportions. She said the plan was to grow the population to 700 by 2050. The mountain bongo, which has a bright chestnut red color with narrow white stripes, is the largest African forest-dwelling antelope according to the KWS. And finally, in international news, the Sudanese army says it has broken a near 2-year siege imposed by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, on the key southern state capital of El Obeid. The breakthrough came as after the RSF signed a political charter in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, to establish a breakaway government in areas under its control. The RSF and the army have been in a vicious battle for power since April 2023, with tens of thousands of people killed and millions forced from their homes. The war has split the country, with the army controlling the north and the east, while the RSF holds most of the Darfur region in the west and parts of the south. El Obeid, the capital of North Kordofan State, is a strategic hub connecting the capital, Khartoum, to Darfur. Finance Minister Jibril Ibrahim reported to the BBC that the move was a massive step in lifting the RSF siege of El Fasher, the capital of North Darfur province, and would also allow the delivery of humanitarian aid to Kordofan. But that's all in the international news with me, Esther Suzanette Bassi.
From the international news, let's now go over to our entertainment desk.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment News with me, Sulaiman Baba Toure. In this edition of Entertainment News, Jelly laid to rest, Lola Simeon wins House of Stars reality TV show, and London Fashion Week ends in London. And now, of course, on the 21st of February 2025, we lost one of our talented artists in Sierra Leone who had been taking her craft seriously, taking Sierra Leone to Nigeria. Of course, one of her songs was played in the Big Brother Niger reality TV show. That was a boost in her career, but it's sad that we've lost her. Her remains have finally been laid to rest in Tayama Bo district. Entertainers were there, fans, well-wishers, family members were there. Of course, tears were pumping as they paid last respect to the late superstar. The candle night and vigil were held in Bo and Freetown, where entertainers performed both, their songs, Jelly songs, and as well as their tribute songs. It was really sad for fans, well-wishers, and also the entertainers, family members as well.
We can't question God. This is sorry where we party.
Oh no, good evening. My name is MJ, and we're there for representing bad music. So I said, let us talk small, but set this together. I can say, inside the music industry, Jelly was my best friend. I remember back then when we were like 18, 19.
My baby, my honey, my bee, honey bee. My jelly, my baby, my honey, my bee, honey bee.
And now, Lolo Simeon has finally been pronounced the winner of the House of Stars reality TV show Season 2. It ended on Sunday. It was a joyous moment for Lolo Simeon. She is the winner of the house and car. And finally, the London Fashion Week has ended. It was hosted in London. The show was about change, social change, to see how best they could, transform women in and out of prison by making sure they give them the life they deserve, changing their lives. Now, and Alonso was there. He performed. I mean, it was crazy. Our tourism minister, Nabila Tunis, took to her X platform, Twitter. She posted, Sierra Leone proudly celebrates the remarkable presence of swanky culture and sheeple at Fashion for Change, a prestigious event on the sidelines of London Fashion Week. This milestone underscores the strength of our creative industries and their role in driving economic empowerment, cultural expression, and sustainable development. Swanky Culture's commitment to merging heritage with innovation is evident in their use of traditional Sierra Leonean fabrics in contemporary designs and more. The show was well, this is all we have for this edition of Entertainment News. I've been your presenter, Sulaiman Baba Toure. Thanks for watching. We say rest in peace, Slbc. Till we meet again.
Now from the entertainment news, let's find out the latest in sports.
Thank you so much for joining us, Cecilia. Of course, it's the sporting updates that brings you the very best in sport. Now, the Sierra Queens 2026 WAFCON qualifiers campaign ended in smoke after they suffered a back-to-back defeat to Benin. It was truly a disappointing campaign. Here is the update. In a fascinating encounter during the doubleheader of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON 2026 qualifiers, Sierra Leone was eliminated by the Amazon Queens of Benin, who secured their qualification for the next round with a 3-1 victory. The second leg match held at the SKD Stadium in Liberia saw Benin took a commanding lead. They opened the scoring in the 38th minute, and just before half-time, they doubled their advantage in the 44th minute, leaving Sierra Leone with a deep challenge. In injury time, they converted a penalty to seal the 3-1 win for their side. With a cumulative score of 5-2 across both legs, the Amazon of Benin have advanced to the second round of the qualifiers. They will now face Nigeria in a highly contested match. The head coach of the Sierra Queens, Hassan Malik Mansare, stressed on the methodology used, but added that they work on their mistakes for subsequent competition.
Because the Benin team are doing more runs in our defense. So that is why today we decided to step in with Asatu Mansare so that she can play with Marie Camara because she can run.
Well, for Sierra Queens, they are now licking their wounds after this disappointing qualifiers. And now in the international scene, when Africa hosted the 2010 FIFA World Cup, the fanfare was all over the place. And Africa is gearing up again for the Youth Olympic Games, which will be hosted in Senegal by 2026. The Pan-African conversation will equally take center stage. It's time for Africa in the IST update. Senegal is preparing to host the highly anticipated Youth Olympic Games in 2026. Marking a historic moment as it becomes the first African country to welcome an Olympic sport event. The Games will take place from October 31st, 2026 over a 2-week period in the vibrant city of Dakar, as well as other cities across the country. More than 2,700 young athletes from across the globe will come together to compete in this celebration of youth and sport. The theme for the 2026 Games, Africa Welcomes, Dakar Celebrates, reflecting the country's rich cultural heritage and the spirit of the Teranga Lion. The event is set to inspire the next generation of African athletes and highlights the continent's potential to host major international sporting events. A total of 35 international federations will be part of the event, featuring 25 sporting disciplines in the competition program and 10 in the engagement program. The competition will showcase disciplines such as athletics, boxing, cycling, gymnastics, judo, taekwondo, football, volleyball, basketball, among many others. Additionally, the Games will introduce engagement activities for sports like golf, kayaking, sport climbing, surfing, weightlifting, offering athletes and fans the unique experiences beyond the competition. The 2026 Games will mark a significant milestone in their gender equality drive, as for the first time in the history of the Summer Games, there will be an equal number of athletes for both men and women to compete in various events. Out of 151 events, 72 will be for each gender, and 7 will be mixed gender events, ensuring full participation and representation across the Games. Dakar 2026 promises to be an unforgettable event, not just for Senegal but for all of Africa, and providing a platform for young athletes to shine and inspire future generations. With its legacy of fostering hope and opportunity through sport, the 2026 Youth Olympic Games will be a key chapter in Olympic history. And that ends the sporting updates that keeps you in the know. Let's experience the African dream. That's your sport.
And many thanks to Abdul Kabir for that update, and that's all we have time for in this edition of News from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. Now, to end the news, your top story. The Joyce Banda Foundation to President Julius Maada Bio the He for She and the Human Capital Development Awards. Electric vehicles have been introduced for the first time. New electric vehicles Nave Salon. And in a landmark event, World Link Communications has a service marking a to enhance internet connectivity. This initiative is in collaborative effort between the government of Sierra Leone and World Link Communications, aiming to ensure that every citizen, irrespective of their location, has access to reliable internet services. But that's all we have time for this edition of News from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. Thanks for watching, and do continue to stay tuned to the public broadcaster, the SLBC. More stories will pop up in our editions of News coming up next in Sierra Leone. My name is Cecilia Ali Sise. Goodbye.
We are the national broadcaster, and I am Sulaiman Baba Toure, a reporter and presenter at the SLBC. Your voice, my voice.
From the commercial department, I am Regina Bangura. You are watching SLBC. Your voice, my voice.
I am Jonathan Turner, a reporter for Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, SLBC. As a reporter, I do stories on education, health, politics, and more. Stay glued with SLBC to watch my stories. Your voice, my voice.
Lucian Ganda, producer Wayus, and producer and presenter Christian Conditions on TV. This is the SLBC.
I am William Wise, presenter Wayus and also reporter at the SLBC, and this is the SLBC.
I am Salma Tabak, television executive producer. I produce programs on both radio and television. I'm a news anchor, a presenter, an announcer on radio. I enjoy what I do because I serve a public service broadcaster. It's a pleasure to work with the SLBC. I am Tilly Koma, Head of News and Current Affairs Unit, Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Our news hour now covers several segments. We have entertainment, business, weather, sports, ferry schedule, and human interest stories, not forgetting politics. We are doing all that to keep you people posted on what's happening all over the country. Thanks for being with us at SLBC. Keep blue. We are the best.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, the 25th of February 2024. This is a breakfast show, Good Morning Sierra Leone. The show that starts your day with news, analysis, and views on current happenings. We are your presenters. I am Emmanuel Samoa.
And I am Esther Sako. Our quote of the day is from former American President Barack Obama, and it says, "Change will not come if we wait for some other people or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek."
Indeed. So keep that in mind. Coming up, as the Civil Rights Coalition raised awareness on the importance of continuous assessment scores, caste and biometric registration scores, BRS at district level, we shall be talking to AEC on NPSC entries deadline.
Girl-to-Girl Empowerment Movement conducts a comprehensive national budget analysis focused on advancing the movement's effort to combat gender-based violence in the country.
And Teach for Sierra Leone ends its regional stakeholders workshop across the country with the aim of developing transformational leaders to end education inequality and all other social injustice in Sierra Leone. Well, we invite you to participate by sending your text message to the number displayed on your screen or join us on Facebook at SLBC Live and other social media handles. The program you are watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation.
Watching this Good Morning Sierra Leone live on the SLBC, and you can be part of the conversation by sending a comment on the Facebook page or send your text message to the number displayed on your screen. It's now time for us to usher our guest, and our first guest here this morning has to do with education. The Civil Rights Coalition will be organizing engagements at district level to raise awareness on the importance of continuous assessment scores and biometric registration scores, BIS, from the 25th of February to the 20th of March 2025. The Civil Rights Coalition, CRC, is a network of 600 civil society organizations in the country following a 5-day national consultative conference at the Atlantic Hall National Stadium in March 2012. The government of Sierra Leone, through the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education and the West African Examination Council, introduced the continuous assessment scores as a critical component of student evaluation. This initiative aligns with the country's Education Act of 2023 and the broader goal of improving learning outcomes and accountability in the education system. In the studio to discuss more, we have the National Coordinator of the Civil Rights Coalition, Alfonso Manley. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, thanks for having me.
Okay, so take us through the relevance of raising awareness on this continuous assessment.
Thank you very much. As you rightly said in your intro, the caste system is enshrined in the Basic Education Act of 2023. Specifically Section 31, subsection 2, especially for those writing WAS, which is a 30% pre-specified percentage, which means when you go to write your exam is for 70% and the 30% they got from your continuous assessment scores, 10% per term. The first term is 10%, the second term is 10%, and the third term is 10%. We also have the batch registration system, which is, your intention to write the exam, wherein you submit all your biometric details of a particular pupils. Over the years, the ministry have got challenges with heads of school complying to the timeline, of uploading CAS and BRS into the WAEC portal. As rightly, WAEC have done training for principals, heads of schools, so they understand the system, because we have now moved from paper-based to a digital system. Before now, you submit CAS after the WAS examination, but because of the challenges they have, bringing in eligible candidates to write the examination, candidates are not qualified to write the examination, the 5 countries sat together to say, look, let's have a portal system wherein you submit the CAS as the child progresses to another level. So for instance, if the child is in SS1, that child promoted to SS2, WAEC will open the portal for CAS 1 on the 31st of May. Is a constant timeline till the 30th of September for schools to upload CAS 1. And CAS 1 is the most important one. It contains the biodata of the child. You enter the child's name, the subject, the age, all of it. And once you've done that, the system generates what is called a reference number. So with that reference number, you'll be able to upload CAS 2 and subsequently CAS 3 and submit BRS for the child. But if you have not uploaded CAS 1, you've not generated that reference number, you cannot upload CAS 2. So because of the challenges we'll be having, so this is why we're engaging the public, not town hall meeting, but we're moving to various markets, lorry park, crowded places, to explain so that you can ask us questions, so you understand that when once is the 31st of May, you don't need to see press release from WAEC. You know that the portal has been opened for CAS 1.
So how relevant are this set of people to the CAS? As you said, you'll be engaging marketplaces and bus stops. How relevant are they to this process?
So if your child is attending the government model, for example, and in the school system, the first term you have what we call Community Teacher Association meeting, you go to the school to cross-check. Have you uploaded CAS for my PP? If yes, let me have the reference number. If you are not satisfied, we sensitize to go to the ministry, you talk to the DD to say, my child name is this, and I want to know if this principal have uploaded. Because if that principal have not uploaded CAS, who suffers? It's your child and not the principal. Though an administrative action will be taken by the ministry, but the ultimate goal you want for that child to write the government to us, it may have, loses that chance. So this is why we providing public education to those who are sending their kids to government school and also private school, for them to understand this timeline and to also ask the relevant question at the right time. Because CAS system is really, really relevant for the NPSC, for the Becker for us. For NPSC is 10%, for the Becker is 20%. And those two examinations are internal examination. Government can renegotiate with WAEC as to when they conduct those examinations based on how government wants those examinations to be conducted. But when it comes to WAS, it's 5 countries, so Sierra Leone cannot determine the dates for WAS. It has to be the 5 countries, and in all of these 5 countries, the portal open at the same time. When the portal opened from the 31st to the 30th September for CAS 1, so it is for Nigeria, so it is for Ghana, the Gambia and Liberia. So we have to keep to those timelines. So this is why we providing public education for you to understand, and we will have what we call IC materials will display at each and every school notice board on those timelines. So even the pupils can ask principal questions, but we know in most schools, pupils are afraid to confront principals with some of these questions. So this is why we are sensitizing the parents, traditional authority, parliamentarians to show concern about the upload of CAS, which is so important. If you have not uploaded CAS 1 for WAS, you will not write the exam. And that will be unfortunate, and that's not the ultimate goal of government, to improve learning outcome.
So Alfonso, as civil society, before embarking on this type of project or initiative, there must have been something that must have gone on, that you take it upon yourselves, oh, let's do this thing. So what is that thing that you think over the years since the introduction of this CAS, before the exam, what are those issues that went wrong, or where did we go wrong?
There are several issues. Let me first of all cite the education sector plan. The education sector plan has 9 objectives. Objective 7 says we want to eliminate all forms of corruption in education. When you bring in a candidate that's not eligible to write the examination, it's corruption. 2. Objective 9, the use of data and technology in education. It was paper-based. Now we are using, it's an automated system. So last year, what was wrong? We have a number of schools, they did not upload EdCast. So governments have to pay 15 billion old loans, 15 million new loans for those pupils to write the private examination. Can you imagine 15 billion will construct a decent school? 15 billion will help the Ministry of Basic Education in terms of their administrative work. So that's one. 2, they are bringing candidates that are not eligible into the system. So this is why now, as the child progresses, you submit your CAS, not after they have written the examination. It used to be before now, after the entire WAS examination, where we now ask you to submit your CAS. So they will manufacture all sorts of grades for people who are not within the school system. So to curb that corruption and to improve on technology, and saying this is why we are providing this kind of public education for you to understand. If you are not in the school system, you are not left out. Go and write the private ones, because some of them are misquoting this radical inclusion policy. The radical inclusion policy is for those who are in school. The 4 objectives of the radical inclusion for those who are in school. But more so, when you are not in the school system, there is still provision for you to write the private ones. And WAEC have been conducting examination for private candidates. They've been doing this on an yearly basis. So we are saying, if you are within the school system, it is now your right to ask the relevant question. Section 97 of the Basic Education Act lists all of those stakeholders: OPP, civil society, parents, traditional authorities. All of you are stakeholders in the education sector, and we are targeting you. So if, for instance, it's now October 15th, go to school, say it is now your time to upload CAS 2. You demand from the principal for evidence. If you are not satisfied, go to the DD of that district. For instance, in Freetown, the office is at New England. They have offices in Kenema, in Pujoro, in Go, in Bond, in Falaba, in Koinadugu. All of these offices, all of these districts, there are DDs in those offices. It is your right as parents. This is why we are sensitizing them to engage them and ask questions, because this is key. This is key. If the principal have submitted CAS 1 and you fail to submit CAS 2, you will write the exam, but you have lost 10%. You see? So this is not one thing responsible for the mass failure in public examination. So we want them to know. So, but if you are not submitted CAS 1, there is no way you can submit CAS 2. There is no way. So this date, this May 31st to October 30th, is the most important period for you to submit CAS 1 for those writing the WAS examination. And WAEC, you have negotiated with them last year, they extended the time for the portal. This time they say no. Why always Sierra Leone? Why always Sierra Leone? So to ensure our pupils do not suffer for the negligence or inaction of some of these principles, we are doing this sensitization. Also, if you have challenges within the system, all of the DDs, all of the IT officers and the Ministry of Basic Education, including civil society, they have trained us on the portal system. Okay. So if you have challenges, you report early to the ministry, they will solve your problem. But what happens, some of them wait the last day, then they will approach the office of the chief education officer, especially the deputy chief education officer, to say, Madam Momo, I have this problem. What are you waiting for? So we are saying on the first day the portal will open, submit to the ministry for them to verify. After they verify those candidates, because those candidates who should write to us, they must have passed BK 5 subjects, including English or mathematics. Once the ministry submits earlier, they clear you out early, they send the list to you, you go to WAEC, you upload immediately. Don't wait for passengers. Don't wait for candidates who are not eligible to write the examination to bring them in.
Okay, Alfonso, let me hold you there. Let me bring Saliu in. Saliu, from WAEC's own point of view, let's talk about this CAS for the NPSC. What is going on? Because we see you are now raising concern.
The CAS we are concentrating on the cars for WAS. The NPSE is the entry portal that is about to close on the 27th, and BECE. These are our national examination. Of course, their own CAS system is different from WAS, wherein without submitting CAS Year 1, as Alfonso was saying, you cannot enter the details of this candidate to write the exam for that particular year. But here now, the NPSE, we have opened the portal since November, and now the portal will be closed on the 27th of February. So we still have more schools and more of their candidates that are supposed to upload. So that's why I'm here this morning to make an appeal to those school authorities, because the number of candidates that we have last year, you cannot compare that number to the one that we have currently on the portal.
So what are the ones that you have currently on the portal?
Well, currently, as I'm talking to you now, we have 111,551 candidates for BECE. So we are in last year, we have 125,877. We still have a large number of difference there. So we are expecting this year, of course, the schools have increased and the candidates, of course, have also increased, because ministry do approve schools wherein we assign codes to those schools every year. So we still have a lot of schools and a lot of candidates that are yet to be uploaded into our system.
Okay, so as the West African Examination Council in Sierra Leone, have you in any way reached out to these schools to know what is deterring them from sending the information of their candidates for this year's exam?
Of course, we have written to them officially, then we also had series of engagements with them. First of all, before we open any of these portals, we have to write to the Ministry of Education officially, who is the employing authority for this school, that as we have done, I have a letter here even for CAS Year 3 that is about to open on the March 1st. We have written to them yesterday, the 24th March, to tell them that the portal for CAS Year 3 will open on March 1st to May 30. So we've communicated to them officially for these particular entries.
Has there been any reply from them? Because they might have reasons that has been deterring them from uploading the information of their candidates.
Of course, because as you have heard that the number of schools that have already uploaded and the number of candidates, we had series of engagements with them. Every day we interact with principals, and of course any means of communication we channel it to the Ministry of Education. They have to reach out. So what and on a daily basis we are updating Ministry of Education on the current status of the entries on daily basis. So therefore I hope the ministry as well will get on to them, and some of them of course do also call us. You know, as Alfonso was, some of them were waiting for just the last minute, and to wait for last minute is very dangerous at times because of internet interruption and other things.
So you said you have been having engagements with them. What are some of the concerns that they have been raising with regards to uploading these informations?
Well, some of them have no tangible engagement, because previously they were talking about system, and now we have trained. There is nothing again in that system that they don't know. So therefore they only know their reason. Perhaps if you do not have candidates, they cannot come out plain and tell the public that, hey, we do not have candidates to do my school has been approved for NPSE. But this year I cannot send candidates. But now we have this in our system. So therefore we need to make an appeal to them.
So Salio, the last time you were here, and when you were here, you talk about the CAS, and which is also linked to the BRS.
Yes,
you check, because they are both for exam purposes for candidates. And you know, you emphasize, and then later the TSC put out a press release saying schools, principals that should be suspended, and also principals that should be expelled from schools. One of the things that came out when our reporters across the country checked some of those schools, one of the things that the principals mentioned is that they sent in their cast, their full cast, their year 2, the ones that you said were not there. They sent in their year 2, and they have evidence to say, oh, they sent in their year 2. But they were shocked to see that after everything, you came out that they do not have it. And when they went to work, there is no proof. Your system shows that there is no proof. But they have evidence that they sent in their cast and the cast of their students.
Yeah, this one is news to me really. For the mere fact you uploaded CASIA 1, of course that is the prerequisite for all the number of portals that we have. When you open CASIA 1, wherein you have all the details of these candidates, including their subject, CASIA 2 is just to promote these candidates to CASIA 2 with that reference number. And indeed, if you submit, some of them, of course, they do, let me say, misinform. I don't want to use lie. They do misinform their authority or even the public that we've done this. But when you call for tangible excuse, wherein the system, the moment you upload, they will tell you that uploaded 248 candidates, if you have 248 candidates, have been uploaded. And even if you have 250, then you uploaded 248 candidates. The system will also give you feedback that 2 pending. All these things you have in the system. And of course, the system will allow you to print confirmation of entries. We are in Shield. You have any problem, you cannot print those things. So wherein you ask them for evidence, they will come with the system and you will categorically say they are not successfully uploaded. Some of them will come. They sent even the consortium of some of these things, and they send them to us. And you can see where the problem lies.
So how unfair are they with this system? Because most of the time you hear these school principals raising concerns about having problems with the system. How unfair are they?
I can confidently tell you that the system is so simple, so user-friendly. Of course, the first year when it was introduced, they said that the training that we gave to them was not enough. So last year, 2024, before we opened the portal for 2025, the ministry took up the venture. They called all their IT officers in this country, including civil society. Alfonso was among them. Then they did this again in all the districts. We trained them. And when they saw the system, they saw the simplicity of the system. And indeed, they confessed that, they have been wrong when they were opposing the system.
Salio, there is an opposing view to that one, wherein when the TSC put out their release, the only school in Kenema was this by Farama school. And when my reporter reached out to the principal, one of the issues that the principal mentioned, one, network in that particular environment. 2 is that the training that was given was not enough because just a day and it was very short and they did not understand it that better. So these are the 2 main key issues that you have mentioned. So when the principal said that, it got me, I became curious because over a time you've been here saying that you've conducted training for these people, and the training is indeed enough for them to understand the system.
So now let's take, for example, let's forget about that particular principle. We have remote areas that are far more inferior to Kenema, wherein we have schools there, they uploaded. We have 892 schools as compared to 816 schools that uploaded CASIA entries for 2024. This year we have 892 schools, they uploaded successfully. This is an advancement. Of course, if you have problem, let's accept that you have problem with your internet facility. Why can't you come to more advanced area to upload your entry there? If I have problem within this vicinity, I can go outside to make even my WhatsApp call or any other call that I want to make because of network. So if you have that problem, now we have trained even the IT officers of the ministry. The inspectorates are all over in this country. If you have problem, we also have our desk officers in our regions. So if you have problem, indeed you have genuine concern, that, hey, this is where I stop with my entries. You can approach these people at any time during their office hour. They can be able to help you.
So, Salu, has WAEC verified that whether if any of these schools across the country has IT officers, personal IT officers attached or being employed by the school for those schools, all of the schools?
You don't need, doing this entry, you don't need to be a specialist in IT. It's just about 30 minute training takes you long. They can train you with the system. You have your computer, your desktop or your laptop computer, just like you have. Some of them are even doing it in their phone, Android phone. They go through the system. You download the link from the system, then you operate it. From there now you can even see the template. This template is the old template that we even put again into the system, wherein that old system, as you can see all the fields there. So it's not about somebody who can be trained in IT. Everybody can do that. In fact, some of them, their exams officers are doing these entries. So it's not about specialists in IT. The system is so simple.
Okay.
So they are just given excuses, and we don't have any problem about technical thing again into the system.
Okay, so you've made mention of a lot of issues with regards to this cast. How would you quickly describe the level of compliance with regards to uploading of the cast?
No, the level of compliance is so great. As I was saying, this year we don't have much problems in terms of numbers that are left out. We only have few schools that did not upload. Even some of them uploaded Cassia 1.
Even for the BRS, now you are talking about
Of course, the BRS, we have 892 schools that we expect to upload. So we have 886 schools that uploaded. It means 6 only remain.
So do you have the names of the schools there?
No, we've submitted to ministry. Have the ministry.
But it is not also necessary.
Yeah, but all I can tell you, we only have 2 schools in the provinces. Then the 4 are in Western area, where they have everything.
So, Salu,
yes.
Today is the 25th.
No, this is CAS, the WAS.
So we are not okay. We are not talking. Let's talk about BRS.
Yes.
For NPS, because these are, you know, primary exams. These are basic exams that pupils take. So if the child is deprived from taking those exams, then it's a problem. For especially even those that take the WAS, because WAS you must have reached your mature level, you understand.
Yeah.
So the number of schools, is it that great?
Of course, we are still expecting. For last year, of course, for NPSE, we have 4,954 schools. So now, as I'm talking to you, we have 4,846 schools that have submitted entries. It means there are more schools and more candidates. So for Becker, we have 1,830 schools. So now, those that have uploaded successfully, we have 1,666. And we are expecting new schools again to come on board. So that's why we are making the appeal. We've given this update to ministry on daily basis, as I said.
So apart from you,
so they can reach their principals to tell them that, hey, this is the situation.
So sorry, apart from you writing these schools and coming to the media, raising these concerns, what other means does WAEC use to engage these principals with regards to the relevance of them uploading the information of their candidates? Because you know these are NPSC pupils. In a case wherein a child is not registered for the exam, the effect it has on the child. What other means does WAEC use to ensure that these principals are there to what they are supposed to do?
First of all, we don't have authority to hold them to account of all these things, because we are not the employer.
Okay.
So that's why whatever we have, we channel through the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. They can be able to hold them accountable for not doing the correct thing. So what we do is to engage them and make appeal to them as well.
Okay. Many thanks there to you, Salu M. Kamara, from WAEC. Cassie has been taking us through the BRS entry. And also, before we went to Sari, we had Alfonso Mane, the National Coordinator of the Civil Rights Coalition, as he sets to embark on awareness raising with regards the caste system. Well, it's now time for us to go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue the program. The program is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live on the SLBC.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available Brown Gold natural cocoa powder, Sunny Gold brown sugar, meat fufu flour, shito, pisa and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
Welcome back. The program you are watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Well, today is all about education. We move on to another topic here today. We are in 3 partner organizations, including the Girl to Girl Empowerment Movement, have collaboratively conducted a comprehensive national budget analysis focused on advancing the movement efforts to combat gender-based violence in the country. This initiative aims to ensure adequate resource allocation and policy support for programs that protect and empower women and girls. According to the project officer Memunatu Square, the budget analysis has reached its final stage, paving the way for its official launch on February 25th, which is today. In the studio, we have the media consultant of this organization, Daniel Misali. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Sierra Leone.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, this particular budget analysis that you are doing, I've just read the intro, which is snappy. I want you to put it in some context. Why you guys decided to say, okay, let's do analysis of this.
Okay, so prior to this time, of course, we all know this part of the world. Gender-based violence has been, a major issue that we have been battling with. One of the major elements of this is rape cases, and of course, as a way to protect girls and minors, several organizations came together, including the G2G, CVF, WAVES, and so many other organizations, to see how best, we can render our own support. And of course, we are working with line ministries as well to see how best we can facilitate this. So with regards to the budget analysis, of course, as you read, it has reached its final stage and it has been compiled. And there are a lot of findings that we put together in this analysis that will be launched today.
So what are some of these outstanding findings when it comes to governments, budgeting for the protection of girls and also gender-based violence?
Number one of the major findings is the insufficient funding with regards to some of these issues. For example, one of the major organization, or if I could say institution, that is in the forefront of this is the FSU. And so insufficient funding, especially towards the FSU, to see how best they could handle this. That's one of the major findings in the report. And as well, we want to also see how best some of these institutions could be empowered. For example, there is the Rainbow Initiative, there are a lot of other institutions who are struggling with regards to finance, and so most of these are captured in the report.
Okay, is it that there has been challenge over the years that prompted the partners to come together to ensure that you make this budget analysis?
Yes, there has been challenge, and with regards to the issue of gender-based violence, it has been happening. It's some sort of a recurrent situation in the country. And yes, we want to thank the government for trying, but then with the help of these organizations working together with the line ministries, I believe that there are a lot more we could do.
So how will this national budget analysis help in that direction to ensure that gender-based violence is being controlled in the country?
Okay, so for example, during our workshops that we had, we were able to identify some one-stop centers across the country, even though there are not enough one-stop centers. And so this report makes provision for the government to see how best we could increase in some of these one-stop centers. Because, for example, when it comes to reporting these cases, for example, take, for instance, you go to the police, most of the victims are afraid to go to the police because they'll be thinking of money. And you know, they wouldn't have that amount of money that would be required to pursue the matter. But with the help of these one-stop centers, these are go-to points which are also captured in the report to see how best we could be able to facilitate this.
So Daniel, the FSU is seated within the police, and the police usually go to Ministry of Finance, you know, they do budgets. And the police is one institution that governments hardly owe when it comes to budget. Even government, when you talk about supplementary budgets, they do add some money for them when they make certain requests. So do you want to say that the money that the police usually attach to the FSU within that particular department is insufficient for them to operate effectively?
Well, as captured in the report, yes, it is insufficient, and of course, that is the reason why this has, you know, been compiled to see how best we all can work together to see how the findings from these reports could be, you know, attended to, and as well we'll be able to fast track, you know, whatever we are doing.
Okay, so apart from you doing these national budget analysis, what other ways does these three organizations come on board to ensure that we stop gender-based violence instead of us raising funds to stop it?
Okay, so just like I said, we are also working together with line ministries, and of course we cannot do all the work alone. So I believe with the help of these one-stop centers, and of course we are also on the verge of creating awareness. For example, we move from communities to communities, we engage stakeholders, we engage parents, we engage community leaders, and even the girls themselves. You know, we try to create, you know, a sensitive environment to see how best they are protected and to create the understanding.
So Daniel, before we allow you to rest, you know, there is this strong political when it comes to sexual and gender-based violence in the country. And even before now, President Bio launched, you know, a court, special court for it, and there was an emergency also passed on that particular issue. So with this strong, you know, political will, do you want to say the reports capture that the funds allocated to this particular sector is still not enough with all of this strong political will?
That is being captured in the report, and I believe without any harm, it's for the good and for the betterment of our society. I believe if we all look into it, you know, there are ways we could see how best we can escape.
Okay, many thanks to you, Daniel Misali, the media consultant from CVF, as he has been taking us through a certain budget analysis that has reached its final stage and will be officially launched today, the 25th of February. We'll move on to another issue. As Teach for Sierra Leone, a non-profit organization, has ended its regional stakeholders workshop across the country. The aim of the engagement was to develop transformational leaders that will make a lifelong commitment to ending education, inequality, and all other social injustice in Sierra Leone and globally. According to the Education Sector Analysis Report 2021, Sierra Leone's education system is marked by fragility. After a prolonged civil war, disease, Ebola, and environmental disasters, 53% of children from poor rural communities are out of school, while 60% of teachers are untrained and uncertified, and only 23% are qualified to teach the subject they teach in schools. Well, in the studio we have the recruitment, selection and matriculation lead, Teach for Sierra Leone, Samuel Rashid Jawad. Good morning, welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Okay, so give us a clear picture of the reason for this regional stakeholders workshop and what was your aim?
Yeah, thank you for the intro. Last week we were all over the regional district in Sierra Leone. On the 17th we were in Bo for the southern region. On the 19th, we were in McKinney for the northern region, and on the 21st, we were in the western area here. Teach for Sierra Leone, as you said, leadership development organization, and we are focused on transforming leaders. So we have been in operation for the past 5 years, and celebrating our 50 years in existence, we thought it fit that let us bring all our stakeholders together and all the partners. Let us come and discuss for the past 5 years, what is it that Teach for Sierra Leone has done well? What is it that we have not done well? And where can we improve? And it will surprise you to know that when in all of the districts, both McKinney and in Freetown here, we brought in our DDs from the TSC and MBSSC. We brought in the heads of schools. We brought in the student, the parent, okay, the community chiefs. Because when we recruit our fellows, we send them to these remote places, these underserved communities where teachers do not actually want to go. In your education sector report, we are just saying 60% of teachers are actually untrained, and that is true. So what we do at Teach for Sierra Leone is that we recruit young graduates, university graduates. It does not mean you have to get a background from education, no. From all set of discipline, we recruit. When we recruit those fellows, we train them with our own model, which has been tested and proven. We use the teaching as collective leadership model, which has been used in 63 countries in the world, because Teach for Sierra Leone is part of Teach for All Global Network. And the Teach for All Global Network uses the teaching as collective leadership model. So when we recruit those fellows, I was once recruited in 2021 as a fellow just from Probe College, and I was sent to SLC Primary School in Pepel, where I taught for 2 years in class 5 and class 6. So because of that model, which we are using the teaching as collective leadership, we train our fellows and send them to these remote places because we owe them a duty. These are Sierra Leonean kids. They cannot be in those communities, those places where the teachers they come in contact with every day in the classroom. They are untrained and unqualified. So we send these trained and qualified teachers to those places to impact the lives of those children. So we brought our stakeholders together to say, let's come and discuss. And many of the things that we are just saying, you have been doing good, recruiting fellows, sending your fellows to our communities. What is it we can do? Well, they are just saying, we want you to increase the number of fellowship, we want more fellows in other places, in other districts, and because we are only operating in 9 districts as of now.
Okay. So you made mention that you send your fellows to reach communities. How have they been coping? Because some communities, they can't even speak Creole, let's say speak in English. So you taking someone from the university, sending them to those areas. How has it been for them throughout these years?
Well, it has been hard. I will not hesitate to say that, because many of those communities, when we send our fellows there, the kids have this language barrier, even with our fellows. For instance, in the south, the predominant language is Mende. When you go to the north, it's Timne and all the rest. So there is that challenge. But then with our model, wherein we are saying the students are the leaders and the teacher is the learner, the fellows are there to guide what the children think. And it is not also wrong to teach them in the language they understood, because for us at Teach for Sierra Leone, we place premium on foundational learning. Yeah, so we are in kindergarten 3, primary 1, primary 2, primary 3. Because with our model, we are saying when you get the kids right at that stage, going forward, I think there will not be problem when it comes to the education. So the language barrier, for instance, in kindergarten 3, you just go there, they sing, those things. So if even they do it in their language, there is no problem.
So Samuel, during the stakeholders engagement, your 5 years, in sailing, it's a retrospect of what you've been doing. So what are some of those gray areas that they mentioned that, these are the areas we want you guys to improve on?
Yeah, the gray areas they mentioned, I think, was just for their own benefit, I could say. Because we do a 2-year fellowship, wherein when we recruit these fellows, they go into those communities for 2 years. After the 2 years, then they now become part of the alumnihood or Teach for Sierra Leone. So there we are just saying, we want you to increase the number of fellowship. Because we are saying, we want the fellows to be in our school for 5 years, 6 years, some were even saying 10 years. And we only send 4 fellows per school. And they were also saying we need 6 fellows, that is from class 1 to class 6. So those are just the things they were just saying.
So what are some of the successes? I want you to be specific about the successes of your fellows when they go to those underserved communities.
Yeah, I could say with shoulder high that at Teach for Sierra Leone, when we send our fellows to those remote communities, many of the communities don't have ECD settings, that is early childhood development. They don't have those settings. We only have the ECD settings in the big towns. You send your child to nursery school A, B, C, and D. In those communities, there are no ECDs. So when we go to those communities, we establish ECD settings in those communities. Yeah. Some of the places we go, they don't even have classrooms for ECDs. We just tell them, okay, since you can give us the court barrier, for instance, give us the church, give us the mosque. We can make use of that place to set up our ECDs. So we have been setting ECDs in all of the communities we have been to. We have been in 95. We are now operating in 95 schools in Sierra Leone in 9 districts. So in all of those districts, we are establishing ECD there, and also we are sending university graduates to those communities. That is something it is really hard to come by. You are just saying the language barrier, recruiting university graduates and sending them to those places. We take them from Freetown, the big towns, and sending them to those remote communities. I was sent to prepare, from Freetown. I left everything here and I was there. So that is a success on our part. I could also say for over the past 5 years, we have trained 405 heads of schools through our national boarding system. Because what we do is when we train our fellows, when they go to those communities, we do not want the knowledge they have gained from our programs to just rest with them. No, we say you have to transfer this knowledge to the heads of schools. You have to transfer this knowledge to the existing system teachers.
So Samuel, let me hold you there. One of the issues that you said the people mentioned is the time. I've been someone who have taught in the school system. And 2 years for an individual to go into a community, yes, 2 years, you say it's better. But are you not guys thinking in that point to increase the number of years your fellows go into community to serve, in as much as that is the request of the people that you give your services to?
Yeah, when I started my discussion, I said Teach for Sierra Leone is part of a global network. That is the Teach for All global network. And across the 63 partner organizations in the world, our fellowship only lasts for 2 years. That is why when we are having our stakeholders engagement, we brought in someone from Teach for All. Perina was in Sierra Leone, and she listened to all of what our stakeholders were saying. We are taking that into consideration. But however, at this moment, and as we go into our 6th recruitment process, on the 1st of March, we'll be launching our application form again for the next set of cohorts. As we go into that process, we are still only having our fellows in those schools for 2 years.
So these fellows that are sent to these schools, how are they catered for? Is it solely by Teach for Sierra Leone? Do you pay these starting fellows, or is it voluntarily? Because taking someone from Freetown, taking them to the provinces, staying there for 2 years.
Not only province, remote.
Rural areas.
Yeah, you know, what our fellows are doing has a sense of patriotism, volunteerism for Sierra Leone.
Ah, so they volunteer in those communities?
Yeah, but then it comes with something. It comes with a benefit.
Okay.
We give our fellows stipend. And I will say our stipend is very attractive. Because when we send them to those remote communities, we give them medical allowance, which comes quarterly. When we send them to those remote communities, besides their stipend, we are giving them remote allowances. You know, and yeah, so we give them stipend, we give them remote allowances, and we give them medical allowances. You know, we are being guided by the Teaching Service Commission as well, because we are in partnership with them. They are in attendance. Yeah, we will not pay our fellows more than what the ministry is paying the teachers in Sierra Leone. That will be a problem for us, because every other person will just be running to our fellowship. So we are being guided. We are just a step behind what the ministry is giving the teachers. So that is what I could say.
So do teachers alone think that you being just a step behind what the ministry is giving to teachers is enough to take an individual from Freetown to go to those underserved communities and teach?
Yes, I strongly do believe so. Because I believe in that, that's why I was a fellow. And we have done 5 recruitment cycles, cohort 1, cohort 2, cohort 3, cohort 4, cohort 5. We are now coming into the 6th cohort. And our fellows are willing, you know.
So finally, before we leave you, you understand, what set of mindset do you create in these your fellows that makes them to voluntarily go to this community even when it is on stipends basis?
Just positive mindset. I think that is what we inject into our fellows. That you have to get a positive mindset. You have to get a mindset that is nation driven. You know, you being a patriot, because listening to the other speakers, we are talking about the National Primary School examination and all the rest. These kids who are residing in those remote communities, they are taking the same National Primary School examination with kids in Freetown. And if they are there, they don't have qualified teachers to teach them. That is injustice on their part. So when we tell our fellows that go to those places, go and impact lives, go and touch the lives of those kids, and willingly they go.
Okay, many thanks there to you, Samuel Rashid Jawad, the recruitment selection and matriculation lead, Teach for Sierra Leone, as he has been taking us to a regional stakeholders workshop that they held across the country, where we still have Daniel Misali in the studio. Daniel, before we let you go, what should be expected after the launch of this budget analysis report?
Of course, the report serves to strengthen advocacy to end sexual and gender-based violence in Sierra Leone, as the theme says, from policy to action. So it's not just about words, it's not just about what's in the paper, but then it's about the action that will follow the launching of this project.
So thank you very much. He is Daniel Misale, the communication consultant for Girls to Girls organization that sat down to say, okay, let's do analysis of monies that are being transferred or allocated to the fight against sexual and gender-based violence. Well, viewers, this is how we go to another segment within the Good Morning Sierra Leone program, which is the review of the headlines of our local tabloids. I'll start the ball rolling with Standard Times newspaper. It's open with a banner headline that says, "Contempt of Parliament, trouble looms over ECOMED. Access to justice is my dream, Chief Justice assured. Lawyers' role in democratic society, Adi Macaulay Speaks. These stories plus more you can get in the Standard Times newspaper.
My first pick here is the Awoko newspaper, and its banner headline says, expanding digital connectivity, Sierra Leone welcomes World Link Communications. SOS Children's Village launches Eco Champions project to empower young youth in climate action. MBSSC presses schools to meet NPSC and Becker registration deadline. These are many more stories you can find on Awoko newspaper.
Well, the next one I have here is the Premier News newspaper, and it opens with a banner headline that says, Honorary Consul resigns in protest of dissension of our aunts. Constituency 081, Anne-Marie Adin elected chairman of SLPP. TSC launches compulsory national teacher registration exercise. SLESCA trains 50 IC certification experts. These stories plus more you can get in the Premier News newspaper.
My next speaker is the Global Times newspaper, and its banner headline says, to commence 2024 audit, Acting Auditor General engages MDAs. Dr. Mohammed Hashem, new children's clinic opens in Freetown. 14 students receive UBSSL scholarship in Bo, and businessman Philip Vanguard denied bail. For these and many more stories you can find on the Global Times newspaper.
The next one I have here is the Awareness Times newspaper, and it says Lolo Simeon secures House of Stars Season 2 victory. And this banner headline in the Awareness Times, it says, as proprietor pays tribute to hard work of First Lady by naming his institution after her, Dr. Fatima Mada Bio College opens for Waterloo folks. Sierra Leone Police uncovers fraud syndicate in Bo City. These stories plus more you get in the Awareness Times newspaper.
Our next speaker is the A to Z newspaper, and his banner headline says, Finance Minister tackles low revenue generation. Strengthening partnership and religious values. President Bill hosts Elder D. Todd Christopherson. And reaffirming commitment to strengthen ties, Iran offers support for Sierra Leone's Hajj pilgrims. These are many more stories you can go in for the A to Z newspaper.
And my last newspaper here is the Nightwatch newspaper, and it opens with this banner headline that says Gangsters Paradise. The next one says, what will Bill's SLPP legacy be? These stories plus more you can get in the Nightwatch newspaper.
My last speaker is the exclusive newspaper, and its banner headline says, JFK declares for APC flag bearer. Revealed I was en route to just like Tender's location before my arrest. Dutch journalist quotes, electricity capacity more than doubled since 2018, but still falls short. That is quoting Dr. Kande Yumkela. And SLPP petitions PPLC commences hearings. Well, for more, you go in for the exclusive newspaper. But before we must quickly note that these headlines read out does not reflect the views of the SLBC, but the views of the various newspapers that we have read out.
Well, viewers, this is how we draw the curtain of today's edition of Good Morning Sierra Leone. But before we go, want to say a very big thank you to you, the listeners, and also a big thanks to our studio guests, Alfonso Manley, Saliu from WAEC, and Samuel for Teach from Sierra Leone, and Daniel Misali from the media consultant for Girls to Girls. Well, I want to also say a very big thank you to our production crew, especially our producer, Daphne Zainab Kamara.
Good morning, Sierra Leone returns tomorrow at exactly 9 o'clock. But before we go, quick take a quote of the day. And it's from an American president, former American President, Barack Obama, and it says, change will not come if we wait for some other people or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek.
Indeed, Esther, you are the change that we seek,
exactly.
And I am the change that we all seek.
Sure.
So mind you, you are the change that Sierra Leone seek.
So have
goodbye.
a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day. I've been Emmanuel Samura.
And I am Esther Sako.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, It's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, neat fufu flour, shito, pisap and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
A place cannot produce poems. It can only not prevent them. And Freetown is good at that, for Freetown has its own sudden elegances. People are slow to leave it, quick to return. And there are others who come for a year or two and stay for a lifetime. sensing that they found a city that is in the world, yet sufficiently on the edge of it to have a different resonance. Let me tell you something about this city. All of us, we're all just passing through, and we've all been here forever. Those who came, those who stayed, those who never returned. Tides turn, seasons change, we've waited and we've watched. But we've always been here. We've always listened, because there is a different resonance here. It comes from the river and the land.
Hello and welcome. This is News Brief on the Hour on SLBC. I'm Cecilia Alice Cisse. In a significant move to help reduce the impact of climate change, SOS Children's Villages have launched the Eco Champion project designed to empower youth for gender-responsive climate action in Sierra Leone. The project was born out of the urgent need to empower youth as agents to take bold action within their communities. 35,000 millions was given to each of the 3 Eco Champions from Unjala University to roll out climate action activities in communities. Living with disability, especially the hearing impaired, participate in spreading the word of God. The Bible Society of Sierra Leone has launched a sign language Bible translation. The launching at the organization's office on Signal Hill in Freetown was considered by stakeholders present as a remarkable milestone in the history of disability inclusion in religious practices and worship. The event, according to Chief Executive Officer and General Secretary Edwin Fraser, would work to make the translated Bible available for churches. He called for sign language interpreters in churches, sermons printed in sign language, and brailled for the consumption of the visually impaired persons. The sign language Bible translation was said to be developed in line with the inclusion criteria slated in the country's Disability Act. Now, the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, in collaboration with the National Association of Certified Tour Guides Sierra Leone, recently commemorated World Tour Guides Day. This event, which was attended by numerous tourism stakeholders, emphasized the invaluable role of tour guides as ambassadors for both tourism and environmental sustainability in Sierra Leone. World Tour Guides Day, celebrated annually in over 70 countries, is a global recognition of the critical role of tour guides in shaping tourist experiences and promoting environmental conservation. In Sierra Leone, the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs marks the occasion with a special nature hike to the Takugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary at Regent. This year's theme, Tourist Guides as Ambassadors, drew attention to how tour guides serve as bridges between visitors and the country's cultural and environmental treasures. The hike allowed participants to engage with the sanctuary's conservation efforts firsthand while discussing strategies to protect the environment. The Ministry's support of the National Association of Certified Tour Guides further highlighted the need to acknowledge tour guides as central figures in both the tourism sector and the conservation movement. Away from that, the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources has inaugurated a mobile health clinic dedicated to the fishing communities of Tombo and Godrich. As Stella Bangura reports, the initiative, made possible through collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, is a direct response to the promises made by both ministers to improve health services for these vital communities during the close season. The launch of the event saw 2 mobile health buses outfitted with comprehensive medical supplies and staffed by a team of qualified health professionals to cater to the unique health needs of fishermen and women, providing essential medical services that have often been out of reach for those living in remote coastal areas. According to Dr. Yebu Kagbo, Medical Superintendent Hospitals on Wheels, about 40% of Sierra Leoneans die at home because of restricted access to medical services. The mobile health initiatives offers a variety of services, including medical checkups, treatments for common ailments, maternal health services, and health education on nutrition and hygiene practices. Fishers and their families had the opportunity to receive vital healthcare services without the burden of expenses. The Ministries of Fisheries and Marine Resources and Health and Sanitation were committed to monitoring and evaluating the impact of the mobile clinics in Tombo and Godrich, ensuring that the health needs of fishing communities are met effectively. And now finally, on News Brief on the Hour on SLBC, the first electronic vehicles have been launched commercially in Sierra Leone by New Energy Vehicles Salon. Minister of Trade Ibrahim Alpha Cisse described the event as an example of Sierra Leone's profound commitment to sustainable development and was eager to see the opening of an electric vehicle assembly factory before the end of the year. Chairing the event, SLBC's Deputy Director General Asmi Oba described the event as history-making and a positive step for Sierra Leone as the world moves towards green energy. CEO of NIF Salon, Moses Sandi, said, with a single charge, the electronic serve can make a round trip from Freetown to Bo, and he thanked the government for an enabling environment to market the innovation. And that's all in this edition of News Brief on the Hour on SLBC. Thanks for watching, and do continue to stay tuned to the public podcaster, the SLBC. I am Cecilia Ali Cisse. Goodbye and cheers.
ready for the Zoom meeting today with the investor then?
Yes, boss. I'm ready for the meeting today. And I don't download all the reports they sent to me on the internet.
Make sure so you get super connection, because I don't want one problem during the meeting.
Everything is okay. Everything is fine.
Counting on you, even though we're not in the same office. I will be with you every step of the way.
As mama, I always want waiting best for me picking them, especially when it comes up waiting them for eat and drink. Now this make I always they choose Sierra juice because they make come from with local food them and nutritious and it gets less sugar than the other drinks them. Not to me say so.
We lab test show say Sierra juice gets 50% less sugar than the other drinks them na the market.
Because we mama they know waiting best for we picking them, now you make we always they choose Sierra juice. Sierra juice is nutritious, it's healthy and it's sweet. Sierra juice, not the taste of Salone.
Retirement, a time for rest, but not for the late President Amatijan Kaba. In 1996, the former UN diplomat returned home ready for a new battle. Kaba chose politics. He led the Sierra Leone People's Party, the SLPP, in the first multi-party elections under the 1991 constitution. Sierra Leone was hopeful. Bad governance, corruption and war had torn the nation apart. Kaba's election was a beacon of hope, a new beginning. In March 1996, Kaba became the first Muslim president of Sierra Leone. His roots were diverse. His wife, a Christian. He was a unifying figure. Every Sierra Leonean saw a part of themselves in President Kaba. But trouble loomed. In 1997, a group of military dissidents overthrew Kaba's government in a coup d'etat. The coup was unpopular. The country was in chaos and grounded for 9 months.
This is indeed what every African country has leader has voiced out to me. That they say it's a disgrace, that there's always some problem by some of these hooligans in different parts of Africa, that Africans are embarrassed, they've had enough, and that they believe that this will be the end to any such coup in any other part of Africa.
Civil disobedience reigned. The slogan was, "No school, no college." One voice that gave hope to a nation in peril was radio democracy. Ambassador Ali Bangura was one of the pioneering voices countering junta peddled propaganda.
I was listening to the radio, watching TV, and seeing propaganda being mounted by the rebels who teamed up with soldiers and overthrew the government we elected just about 13 months before the date of that coup. And I was so furious because having realized the gains that have been made during the short period John Kaba was in office, 13 months to be exact. The exchange rates had been brought down, inflation had reduced, and there was hope. And you cannot imagine having gotten the government headed by such a person giving us a new direction that will bring hope to our people. And you wake up one morning and they say the government has been overthrown.
Democracy was restored in 1998. Ali Bangura became Minister of Trade. He saw Kaba's vision up close.
And I worked very closely with him. And that is when I realized the sort of passion and love that he has to see that Sierra Leone moves in a trajectory that any progressive person will be proud of. Because I could remember several times in cabinets when cabinet papers would come and he would have reviewed them through his advisory council and had seen that this proposal being put forward to cabinet is one that has some ulterior motives. He would express his own views so passionately to the extent that you will see that it seems as if tears are flowing through his eyes. Will remain a tall, colossal figure in the history of our country because of what he did for this country, and those of us who worked closely with him, what we saw in him. We saw in Tijan Kava a leader who has great love for the people and the country.
And as a nation, it was the right leader at that time.
Dr. Samabaniam was foreign minister. He was crucial in peace talks.
He was cool. It was difficult to understand the man. He was never emotional. And when it all happened, especially when I flew up, I was detained by the AFRC, by the way, arrested in my surgery and detained, and even my hearing aids removed from my ears and put on the ground, and the illiterate dogs who call themselves soldiers stepped on it. Now this is the take talk to Jankabana Conakry. So for a long time, we didn't have this kind of conversation unless I went very close to you. Up to the time I got to Conakry, that's when I got a spare one and used it. So in his presidency, it was not what was good for me, it was what was good for the country. And especially it was the most difficult period.
President Kaba's determination was key to end the war. At the height of the war, some of the things he grappled with were the displacement of Sierra Leoneans and the destruction of social amenities. Rebuilding not only the infrastructure but helping people return to their homes was a very difficult task. Kanja Sise was the man who championed that project.
He now knew the kind of job I was doing. So he had come with the idea, with this vast knowledge in rehabilitation and post-war reconstruction in some other countries. He came now and now told me, my brother, Mfa, that's the way he used to call me. Mfa, I know the kind of work you're doing. I'm thinking of setting up a new ministry called Ministry of National Reconstruction, Resettlement and Rehabilitation. And I want you to serve in that ministry. Because I know that's the kind of job you're doing. That was a brand new ministry that he's the one who set up that ministry. And then he appointed me. My first appointment into government, into political office, was that one. So that is as deputy minister then. So then I started working, in an area that I knew what to do. So he was that kind of man, full of respect, So I served in that position for some time. And then, of course, there was the war. Then we went and we came back. I continued serving in that position. But then he converted the ministry to a commission. And this was because our partners, the donors at the time, said that as a ministry, we were just too bureaucratic for the kind of work we're doing. So because of that, we now converted. He then directed the then Attorney General, the late Mr. Solomon Berewa, to convert the ministry to a commission. Then it became known as NCRRR with a 3-year mandate. We did that, and then later on, because he had declared in 2002, when he said the war done, you understand? Then we now converted the place from a commission for national reconstruction, which was essentially an emergency kind of outfit. We now transformed it to a social fund called NACSA, National Commission for Social Action. And in all of this, he would call me and tell me what he wanted to achieve through the new commission, NACSA. And that is how we went all over this country rebuilding. Because, essentially, the war, the nature of the war in Sierra Leone was characterized by destruction of social and economic infrastructure. Schools, clinics, all over the country. The rebels would just go and burn down villages and towns and just destroy everything. So that was the task he gave me, to now do rehabilitation and then support the resettlement and reintegration of ex-combatants, of displaced persons all over the country. Now, we had many displaced camps all over the towns, even here in Freetown, but then taking them all back to their villages and their places. He knew what he wanted from me. He knew what he wanted from me, and so it was an issue of mutual respect for each other. He would call me and tell me, this is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. And I would do it. And like I said, it was a relationship of mutual respect. And then I would, at this time, maybe give one of the reasons why he succeeded. He was a very liberal man, liberal-minded. And because of his experience working with the UN, he knew what to do. Some of us younger at the time, had very radical way of trying to do things, especially the impatience we had with the rebels. Just thought that military might should be exhibited, should be shown, so that he would tell us and say, call us and say, look, even you have only one rebel with one AK-47 in a country, he goes and stands in a very remote village and he fires that, already he brings chaos into the country. So I have never seen in my life where war has been ended through fighting. So you have to be patient with me. We have to make sure that we finish this war through negotiation.
Dr. Julius Sandy believes that the country couldn't have had a better leader at that material time, whose vision and commitment were to transform his country and change the lives of his people through the recalibration of the state machinery.
Those were very crucial moments. That was the moment when we needed Pakaba most. Yes, and that was a godsend for us. He was calculated, he was genuine, he just liked the country and he wanted to make sure that we had peace at all costs. But that was just part of his priority. But the main priority was to ensure that we have a stable, productive, and strong Sierra Leone in all spheres of engagement, in the economy, the civil service, the security sector, and all the sectors. That was it. I mean, imagine we were just emerging from war, kind of, although the war was still hanging over us. And then here was the president who had this experience in ensuring that we have a stable regime. You can imagine the drawbacks. One step forward, two steps backwards. Not because of his leadership, but because of the insurgency at that time. So he was just a godsend leader at that time.
from the day I was elected. Even before I was elected, it was really on my campaign program that I was going to bring about peace to Sierra Leone.
Kaba believed in unity. He built a broad-based government and engaged young people.
It's extremely memorable, and coming back from the UK as a war child myself, President Kaba was then our president, and he was very receptive to young people, especially hardworking young people. So we had a very good friendship. Myself, the likes of Cherno, Cheriko Kornaibul, the late Mosiri Fadika, Mohammed Gentoo. So we were even called the Pakaba Boys. We will go to the late president, and his key message to us was peace and unity amongst ourselves. You know, those days we didn't have all this green and red. I mean, the amount of cohesion amongst us, regardless of your background, whether you are Minde or Timni or Fula. And Pakaba would always say to us, war is not good. And the only way we could mitigate the occurrence of that is how we should be able to accommodate each other. So his message to us had always been peace, peace, nothing less but peace.
Marcella Slbc was a young activist working for Campaign for Good Governance. As a woman and a youth those days, she had a space on the table.
The civil society space was an arena for free speech. You see, I came in contact with the late President Ahmad Tijan Kaba, may so rest in perfect peace. When I started at Campaign for Good Governance, but more importantly, as a student leader at Fobe College, because we interfaced, you know, with making sure the civil conflict came to an end, and equally so ushered in democracy. Whilst at Campaign for Good Governance, then we were very, very youthful, just coming from college. I could remember the late president is really a transformational leader. He fondly referred to us as them picking them. During the post-conflict reconstruction era, there were so many projects, reconstruction, rehabilitation processes going on, and he was always concerned about the youth perspective.
President Kaba bridged divides. Opposition figures respected him. Some even became his friends.
But I will confirm that I had a very good relationship with him. I will summarize the key areas. One that has to do with his love for peace, national unity, cohesion, and love for Sierra Leone. He was a patriot. He loved seeing Sierra Leoneans together, irrespective of their tribe, their region, their religion, even their status in society, whether you are educated or not, whether you're rich or poor. I'm sure that is why he kept his friendship. Even though he became president, his friends were those that were his friends. Long when he was going to school, the Fadludins and others, he did not change his friends in the past. He had people he worked with across the political spectrum. He had friends in the APC, friends in the SLPP, and even after the elections, he had friends in the PDP. There were other political parties then, you remember the late Temubanga and others. Again, I remember when I was chair of AWOL in 2010 or thereabouts, or 11, we invited him to the AWOL Awards night at Family Kingdom. And he was to appear on stage with former President Nkrumah, When we met Tijan Kaba, late of blessed memory, he was happy to meet with us and he was excited to attend the program. We were going to award him for his role he played in not just bringing, but keeping the peace to Sierra Leone. He was there, he sat down as long hours as it could be. With his age, you just imagine, but he was happy being with us. He celebrated with us, he received this prize with humility and left. These things continued even when he left the presidency. I remember meeting with him one or two occasions at funerals. He'll go as this simple man, smiling and interacting, no pushing and shoving, no force. So he's somebody I'm sure we wish as Sierra Leoneans he will still have been around. I learned a lot from him, like late President Kaba. I believe in the things that puts us together. So irrespective of the political divide, like I learned from him, I myself don't practice the political divide. I remember in 2007, whilst we were campaigning, on two occasions we met with him, once along Wilberforce and the other along Old Railway Line, Tengbe Town. He was driving himself and one individual in front. I don't know whether the person was a PA or security, but this was how simple he was. He was driving, he stopped and waved to our crowd. And while smiling, all of us were excited and happy. Na Pakaba, the president, I know waved to his own. We saw in him a person who was receptive to all and sundry, irrespective of the political divide, because he believed in one Sierra Leone. And as I said, on both occasions, that was what transpired. And I will tell you, he removed mystery, the mystery surrounding the presidency. He removed the mystery surrounding power.
I met him when I was a young boy in Makeni. He thought that he could use his office to mentor me. If I will quote him when he addressed the audience during an award ceremony, when he was awarded the Peace Prize, he said, I came to the office of president first and foremost to end the war. So some of you may blame me that I did not build too many roads, but I did not come to build the roads yet. I came to bring peace to this country and to unite this country. And that was what he did. Really, the road to peace was not easy. It led to a military coup, it led to his overthrow, but in the end, he came back and put in place the mechanisms that will bring peace to Sierra Leone. That's what he did. And this is why most of us respected him. And also, he did not politicize the administration of the state. He did not politicize the presidency. To him, every Sierra Leonean was a Sierra Leonean. And he looked, whenever he wanted to consult people, even if you were APC, if he knew that you had knowledge about certain things, he would call you and discuss issues with you. I remember when he was going to United Nations, he shared his speech with me. So well, look, Ambassador, one mistake, Odede. I read the speech. And he said, well, go and dress, let's board the plane. So we flew to Brussels. From Brussels, we went to New York. This was how he operated. I was APC at the time. But he did not care. He was SLPP, but he did not care. It was the state. So to us, he was an acceptable president. He was a president for everybody. And this is why some of us are very, very happy that the public continues to respect him.
The late man is always remembered for the establishment of many of the country's post-war institutions.
Well, as a leader, for me, I learned from him. He was strategic, he was a visionary. Like for me particularly, he said, I want to establish a scheme that will take care of the old and those people whose welfare has been affected as a result of the war. So I want a social security scheme for them. Right? So that was how me and him came to work closer together. I tried to find out from him what exactly was his vision. And his vision was to make sure that his scheme was established that would take care of those whose hands and limbs have been chopped off during the war, and the rest so that they will have means of livelihood. Then that was the time I said, well, before we can do this, it is but important that we establish a scheme that is contributory, where me and you will contribute so that at the end of the day, you will not fall vulnerable like those that are here now. So later, I said that's a social safety net thing. So one thing that I can say about him, he listened. And we discussed about it, and he was able to readjust his vision. So today we have the social security scheme. So he has been the man behind the establishment of the national social security scheme, and I will always pride myself as one who has worked with him on that particular front.
At home, he was a loving father. After Patricia, Aissata Jabi Kaba supported him. She is the surviving wife of the former late president.
The late man was a family. Father, husband, he was a brother, he was a grandfather. So he was a very compassionate man. He loved his family. I was trying to go very good. Those to chat, not only me and the wife, even the younger ones at home, kids. He was very fond of kids because he would always say kids are very genuine, they will love you unconditionally with no strings attached. So he always has that love for kids, so he was very fond of him. Because of his background, Pakaba initially was an economist, a diplomat, a seasoned civil servant, and a lawyer. So because of that background, he was able to negotiate well, and he listens well, and he also consults people. Pakaba believes when there are issues, when there are problems, you bring people from different facets of the society, you discuss with them. So after tapping into all those resources, then he will now sit down and negotiate very well. And that is why it was very easy for him to negotiate with the rebels. And he also believes in delegating responsibilities also. So you now begin to see, even when the negotiations were going on, he will send his vice president, the late Solomon Berewa, to go and represent him after they have had several meetings and also other people. So I think because he likes consulting other people, he likes getting ideas from other people, so he was always on top of situations. He never believed that he has monopoly over knowledge.
Protecting a president can be very challenging, especially in times of war. William Fayaselu served the late president as Chief Protection Officer, a duty he discharged for 11 years, and many of those years were difficult moments.
I was there throughout his entire tenure as president for 11 years. For 7 of those years, I was the Chief Protection Officer. I remember once we went to Boo in one of our numerous visits, and we had a whole lot of Kamajos lined up out there in front of hotels and meetings. I tried to restrain him not to go there to shake hands. He said, no, those are my people. Those are the ones who are going to end the war, and we are going to end the war together. So he said, just follow me downstairs. We went downstairs. He shook their hands. For a very long time, he was shaking hands with people. Once, when Daru was actually under siege by rebels, that was when the Pakistanis were there. And then we had the Manchester-born Inspector General Kit Bidu. He actually wanted to stop him from going there. He wanted to go there to be part of the reconciliation process. He said to him, no, Kit, if you are not going, say I'm going. Say, Selu, let's go. So that's how he was. Those are the things I actually saw in him. I said, when somebody possesses those qualities, he's a successful person.
I was very close to the president because the relationship started during the elections. I had served as secretary to his campaign, his first campaign, and the campaign went very well, and of course the results were very, very positive. So from that time onwards, we became very close, and that translated into government. And and he asked me not to, ask him for any ministry because he wanted me to serve in his office. So of course, I was like a novice in government. I had worked in university. I had come from the Department of Mathematics
I was head of mathematics department, and I had no idea how government was running. But I came and met this man who was, a seasoned diplomat, an accomplished diplomat, who had worked for many years in the public service, and he knew exactly how government functioned. So the first few years were really years of training. And during that period of training, I became like his blue-eyed boy. I was always with him because I was learning.
Kaba, apart from bringing all manner of Sierra Leoneans into his cabinet, into his administration, he also tried to make them feel good, even when he had to let them leave for one reason or the other.
I'm my husband, apart from being my grandpa. So I was always that little child that looked forward to chocolates from his state trips. So every time he came back from a state trip, he would send me a box